Hey everybody, all right, it's time to learn, well, what I think is a pretty cool song to know because it's an easy song to play, right? There's a little bit of strumming attitude in it, okay? And, it's basically uh, really just four chords, and then there's a fifth chord that can be used or not, which I'll explain later, as a bit of a turnaround chord, and that's called a D7, but we'll deal with that a little bit later. And this is just one of those songs to play. Um, when you're in a room and someone gives you guitars, hey, play something. Well, this is a great song because everybody knows at least the chorus, and they're going to start singing along. And now all of a sudden, the pressure and the attention is off of you, and you can just play your guitar, right? So let's break this song down. It's got some interesting things in it, and we'll start at the beginning. So there is a riff at the beginning. Now, for those of you that are interested in it, we'll cover that at the end of this video. Now, when you are a new guitar player and you're learning songs, the first thing that I recommend is avoid anything with a little fancy little, whatever it is, any little fancy opening, forget that, okay? Because the reality is, in this song, that little riff, do 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 do, okay, is just miming this. Do 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 do. And that's usually the case with intros to songs, so don't get all bent out of shape because that can really set you back. Because as a beginning guitar player, we are working every day on our chord fretting and our strumming. We're not really working yet on things like walk-ups and walk-downs and riffs, licks, note playing, and all that kind of stuff. So let's avoid them for now. As you develop your guitar foundation and you get better and better, then you can revisit this and add that lick just like that. All right? So that goes for any song, really. Don't worry about the 18 or 16 middle 16 or middle 8s in these songs that are all instrumental, and that's when the lead guitar player or keyboard player does their thing. You don't have to worry about it. You can play just the chords, or you can just simply go verse, chorus, wherever it is. You don't have to stop for the instrumental. All right? So this song is in different parts, as all songs are. A lot of times you'll see repetition, the same chord structure in every verse, the same chord structure in every chorus. They may be different, but they're going to be the same throughout. And other times, no, everything is different. The first chorus is played with 3 or 4 chords, and the second chorus has an extra chord in it. So be aware of that, right? Okay, in this case, we're pretty much standard. Okay, so we're going to start off with a 4-chord progression that we're going to play 4 times. And that's the whole meat of the verse. So it is G. Now, the strumming pattern, okay, is going to be 1, 2, 3, do, 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 and that's one measure. So what I do is once I come up with a strumming pattern, that replaces my need to count. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I just go by strumming pattern. So I go change, 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 change. Okay? Instead of the counting, but that's me, right? You do it your way. So in this case, we're going to play G for a strumming pattern, C for a strumming pattern, G for a strumming pattern to the D, and we're going to do that 4 times. 2, 3, 4, now at this part of the verse, things change a little bit. We change the sequence of the chords that we're playing. So we've just come off of 4 times G, C, G, D. Now instead of going back to the G for this part, we start on the C. Okay, so I'm going to pick it up from that last G and D as part of the 4 units that we played. Right? So G, D. Now we go to the C. You, a brown-eyed girl. E minor, and repeat that. Okay, so let's do that again. So we're coming off of the G, C, G, D routine. We've done 4 of those. So we get to that last D, then we go to C. Da to the D. E minor. Da da D. D. Ba 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 ba. Now we start in to the next verse. Okay? Now, some people, and sometimes you'll see this song played, replacing that very, very last D that we just played with a D7. So instead of playing D right at the end there, we would replace it with a D7. Now that's just a version of a D chord that creates a little bit of tension, a little bit of push that you can kind of hear. It wants to go, what's next? I'm glad you asked. Da 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 da, right? Da 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 da. So you don't have to play that D7 if you don't know it. And when you get to that last D, which ends that whole section before it starts either another verse or into a chorus, in any song you do, remember, you're not playing along with anybody. You're not playing to a record. You're actually entertaining. You're at a party somewhere or someone's asking you to play a song and you're playing this song. And what you could do, you're not bound to just that one in D. You can hang on that. Let that tension build. Or if it's a D7, keep going. All right, everybody, this is your chance to talk to the audience. Come on, everybody, sing along with me. Here we go. Sha-la-la-la, right? Okay, because you're not affecting the song. You're on the last chord of the last section of a song. You can put it on hold if you really have to. And when you look around and you see things next time you're at a bar, you're watching people, you'll find that that's what they do if they want to engage with the audience or, come on, everybody, sing along. They do that while repeating the last chord that is providing that push tension to change over to another verse or chorus or whatever. Just a little note I wanted to throw in there. So now we've basically played the whole song other than the bridge because that exact formula is replicated for verse 2, right? So that's it. Now the only other part is what they call the bridge, and that is when it comes from, we go up to that C and it goes, you, whoa, whoa, a brown-eyed girl. E minor, whoa, my brown-eyed girl. Do you remember when? A lot of times you don't play. You just play the 1D or the D7. Do you remember when? The D7 would be the proper one to play there, but you could easily play a D, right? So do you remember when? Oh, we used to sing sha la 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 la. Now we're just ending. Sha la 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 la. Brown-eyed girl. Oh, my brown-eyed girl. There you go. All right, so look, a pretty straightforward song, and it's a great song for singing and humming along. If you can't sing, hum or whistle, because that will really help let people know what song that you're playing. Especially in our early part of our journey, and we don't have all the little riffs and we don't have really good command of our right hand and be able to deliver a rhythm and a tempo. Sometimes it's hard to tell what someone's playing because it's really just a chord progression, right? And there could be like we've talked about, thousands of songs sharing that, and there is that chord progression. So, sometimes we need a little something, something to get it out there if we can't sing. But of course, if you can sing, everybody's going to know that song right off the bat. All right, now here's that little lick. So before I show it to you, I want to make sure you understand that these tab sites, or whatever you want to call them, chord sites, tab sheets, whatever, they're not always right. These are just other guitar players' interpretation. And many times they're right and they're accurate. But other times, and maybe even many times, they're not. So in a situation like this, if you're learning to play a song that you have heard 1,000 times or more over the years, and you just know it intimately, and you read a tab sheet and it's either for a lick or a chord progression, and something doesn't seem right, whether they change the chords and the wrong lyric, or they have you playing a note that just doesn't sound right, trust your ears, trust yourself. Because even though you're not a lifetime guitar player or musician, you're probably a lifetime music listener. And your ears know that something is not right. So if that's the case, go with your gut, not the tab sheet, right? So you might see variations of this opening lick. Go with the one you feel works for you. And this is the one that works for my ears. Now, when I'm done showing you, I'll explain why we're playing these notes for you theory hounds that really want to know, and good for you if you're one of them. All right, we're going to start this little riff in D, okay? Now, there's the D right there. That's the second string, third fret, and we're simply going to play D, E, which is 2 frets up, E, and then F sharp, which is 2 frets from that. And then we're going to go back and play that E again, and we're going to go back and play that D again. So pretty simple, right? 3 notes, 2 frets apart on the same string. It's going to sound like this. Then we're just going to go right underneath and play the mirror. Same thing. But the notes are obviously going to be different. In this case, G, A, B, A, G. Okay? 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret, 3rd fret. Altogether, it'll sound like this. And we're going to do that again. And then end here. Take that extra note this time, right? So once again. There's your opening riff. Now, Ray, as far as I know, this song is in the key of G. And the first chord is a G. Well, why don't we start the lick on G? And do something like that. Or because in my ears, it just doesn't sound right, okay? And remember, just because a song is in a certain key, it doesn't mean that any of the licks or the solos are. There's many times where it might be in G, but the solo is in D. Or it might be in C, but the solo is in like F or G, because it just sounds better to whoever wrote the song, right? Trust your ear on it. That's why I say trust your ear, okay? So in this case, we got... Now let's look at the 2 notes here that are the most important, the starting and the ending note. Now, we're starting on a D, right? Okay, the first chord is a G. Now remember that whole circle of fifths thing? Here's where it comes around again as it pertains to a guitar player. We've done some videos on this lately. We've talked about it in the live shows. So G, okay, right here, the 1, 4, 5 of G would be G, right? G, A, B, C. 4 is the 4, which is always under the 1, and then the 5. 1, 4, 5. And we know that if we mix the 1 and the 5 and play them together, we get a power chord. So these two notes, 1 and 5, in this case G and D, sound good together. So what I'm doing, even though we start in a G, root note G, okay, we're starting the little riff on the 5th, which is a very pertinent note, right? Because first of all, it's the 5th note in the scale. It's part of the triad, G, B, D. So the triad of G chord is G, B, D. G, B, D played together. So we're starting on the 5th. So that's a very acceptable thing to do, right? So that's why we're starting there. Now when we end, we play that extra note to give it like it's going somewhere, right? Up. Now from D, we go up. E, F, G. So by playing that extra note E, we're ramping up D, E, F to the G. Sorry, to the G. Okay? So again, let's hear how it comes off that lick. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. All right? There you go. That's the theory behind it. Okay? Now there's one more little area that you don't have to play, but there seems to be a little kind of little walk up between the G and the E minor. So in that part of the song where it goes, you're brown-eyed girl, so that little E minor, we can do something like this, right? We can do, oh, brown-eyed girl. Instead of going for a measure, we can go, do. Okay, so we can just do a little, right? There's G, so we're going to do a little G, B, D, E minor. So we're going to come up to the G, play it. G, D, E minor. You're my brown-eyed girl. And there you have it, right? When you develop your own skill set, you can make anything your own. Don't ever be afraid to kind of wander as long as it makes sense. It'll work. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. There's many more coming your way. I realize a lot of you really like to learn songs this way. And so hopefully you can kind of use this to build your repertoire. So more coming. Stay tuned. See you later. And remember, as always, hey, just play your guitar.